أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر.
لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستنصره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن حبيبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله. نشهد أنه قد بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. أما بعد، عباد الله، أذكر نفسي وإياكم بتقوى الله عز وجل وأحثكم على طاعته. يقول الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. My dear brothers and sisters, before we start, inshallah, I just want to ask everybody, please, to come forward and fill the gaps between yourself. If there is gaps, please kind of come close to each other and come forward and allow space in the back for people who are coming late, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. There's plenty of space in the front. Please make sure that our brothers in the back, they have a spot to stay in, inshallah. I start by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and giving Him gratitude for everything we have in our own life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we owe everything in our life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with us on all affairs of our life. We seek His help, we seek His guidance, and we seek refuge in Him from the evil of our own self and our own deeds. And indeed, whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guided, and whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep guidance from, none can guide. And I bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only God worthy of worship. Is the only God. There is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His prophet and His messenger. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His blessing, peace and blessing upon him and upon his followers and companions and family till the day of judgment, inshallah. I remind myself, all of you, of taqwa Allah azza wa jal, to always be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He commanded us in the Quran. O you who believe, be mindful of Allah the way He deserves to be mindful of, and never die except in a state of submission to Him, state of Islam, surrendering to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear brothers and sisters, we are already almost done with the first third of the month of Ramadan, the blessed month of Ramadan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made it an obligation upon us in this month to fast. And the month of Ramadan is a very special month. We hear it many times being described with some adjectives, some things associated with it. Ramadan is the month of the Quran, Shahrul Quran, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. It is the month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descended the Quran within. So that's why we call it the month of the Quran. And we strive to study and read and, ponder about the Quran during the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is described as the month of the fast. فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. Whoever witnessed the month should fast it. That is also very kind of logical. It is the month that we perform the act of fast. The third pillar of Islam, the fourth pillar of Islam, is we fast during the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is the month of charity. Many of us as Muslims, we spend our zakat during the month of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ was described that he كان كالريح المرسلة وكان أجود ما يكون في رمضان. That he used to be like the flowing winds. He would spend on charity like almost there is a very easy breeze, nicely giving beautiful feelings. But he would be his most generous during the month of Ramadan. And we try to follow in the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ and be generous in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is Shahrul Qiyam. We stand up in Ramadan, we pray at night. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man qama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbih." Whoever stand up in the month of Ramadan seeking the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah shall forgive his past sins or her past sins. Ramadan is being described as Shahrul Tawbah, Shahrul Maghfirah, Shahrul Rahmah, the month of mercy, the month of forgiveness, the month of repentance. All of those are the right labels to describe the month. And most of us know them and have heard them. But we don't talk too much about the fact Ramadan is a month of change. Ramadan is a month of change. And it is a very, very important concept of Ramadan is change. And if you think about what happens in Ramadan, it starts by change. We change our daily habits, our daily routines. We change when we wake up. We change how we eat. We change how we conduct ourselves during the day. So we start this act of worship by change. And it is a significant change. Honestly, if you think of it, it is a very significant change, but we got used to it. We do it year after year, so we don't think of it. But imagine asking someone suddenly between day 1 and day 2 to change everything about their daily routines. They'll have a lot of issues. They'll have a lot of complaint. The time they wake up, the time they sleep, how they eat, all of that stuff. But we do it because Allah wants us to do it. So we start the month by this change. And this change that occurs in the Muslim life is actually global. It happens on a global scale. 1/4 of the earth population go through this change. And this is a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially if you count and if you consider that Ramadan and the fast is only mentioned in the Quran. Ramadan specifically and fasting Ramadan is mentioned in the Quran once, in one page in Surah Al-Baqarah. Less than 5 verses. Those 5 verses change the habit and the work and the daily routine of 1/4 of the earth population every year. Isn't that a miracle? Isn't that an amazing thing that happens every year and we go through it without even thinking about it? So this change, my dear brothers and sisters, is essential for Ramadan. And we need to be really pondering about the fact that we start the month and we engage in the ibadah through an act of change. And that change is meant, wallahu a'lam. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us by our own action that you can change. You can change your daily routine. You can change your daily habits. You can change when you eat. In Ramadan, we stay away from food and water and intimate relationship. These are some of the most basic need and instincts of a human being. And still, Allah shows us by our own conduct, by the fact that we fast and we stay away from food and stay away from water and stay away from intimate relationship, Allah shows us that we can control those instincts. We can control those desires as an act of teaching and training that we can change other things. We can change other bad habits that we have in our life. If we can change and control our basic needs and our basic desires, then one should be very easily able to change the fact that may have a tendency to be angry, or a tendency to cheat, or a tendency to be obnoxious. We should be able to integrate those lessons into our life and think about it. I'm changing so much, why I can't change this simple thing in my life? That is bad for me. In reality, Siyam, like any other act of worship, is intended to change us to the better. And this is very clear with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he talks about asking his companion. I was sitting with his companion, and he said, do you know who is the penniless between my ummah? They said, you know, the one who is penniless, the one who does not have dirham and dinar, that does not have money. He said, no. The penniless between my ummah, who will come on the day of judgment with fast, with prayers, with zakat, that they have performed all those acts of worship. But they come and they come with the fact that they have cursed this, and they took the money of this, and they spilled the blood of this, and they beat this, and then done so many bad things. So this will take from their good deeds, and this from good deeds, until their good deeds are gone. Their bad deeds will throw upon this person, and he will be thrown in the hellfire. This hadith shows that if the ibadah, if salah, siyam and zakah did not change us and lead to a change in our conduct and in our behavior, then the ibadah has not achieved its objective. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Salah should prevent from vice and objectionable acts. The same thing about siyam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the Prophet ﷺ said, من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به فليس لله حاجة في أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. The one who does not let go of telling lies and acting upon lies, then there is no need for Allah that he should stay away from food and water. That if the staying away from food and water did not teach a lesson that we need to stay away from cheating, telling lies, objectionable behavior, then it has not achieved its objective. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, the month of Ramadan is the month of change, where we start thinking about how we're going to change our life. It starts by changing our daily routine, but then we need to take active steps to change other things. Historically, Ramadan changed the face of the earth. In Ramadan, Ma'arakat Badr happened, the Battle of Badr happened, where the Prophet and his companion had their first victory over those who opposed them and, prosecuted them. In the battle, in the month of Ramadan, Fath Mecca happened in the month of Ramadan. That changed the whole spread and Islam and the presence of Islam in Arabia at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Everybody started to come to Islam in droves and droves after the Fath of Mecca, after the conquest of Mecca. So historically, even on a considerable change, in Ramadan this change happened in these specific instances. For us as individuals, if you think about what Allah made the intent of Ramadan is, then that's where we need to start our first change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in these ayat, the ayat of Sawm, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe, fast have been prescribed upon you as it has been prescribed upon those who were before you, so you might achieve taqwa. You might achieve God consciousness. You might be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first change we need to do is we need to become among al-muttaqeen. We need to take an action to increase our taqwa and reach that level of taqwa that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to achieve from the act of siyam. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu asked one of the companions, Ubay ibn Ka'b, about what is taqwa. So Ubay answered him in a very beautiful manner. He said, "O Amirul Mu'mineen, have you ever walked in a path that's full of thorns and, hardships?" He said, "Yes." He said, "What would you do?" He said, "I lifted my garment so I would see where my foot is, and I would tread carefully. I would protect my foot and my legs as I'm treading on this road." He said, "This is exactly what taqwa is. You tread carefully. You tread carefully so you would not transgress upon the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You tread carefully so you would not do the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it's haram. You tread carefully so you do not prosecute and oppress and commit dhulm to people around you as you're conducting your life." This is one of the first change that we do in our life. What other changes we can do in Ramadan? We can do multitude of changes, my dear brothers and sisters. Those of us who are not attentive to their salah, they can start to change that. They can start to do their salah in time. If they are not doing at all, they can start doing it. If they are doing it carelessly, they can start doing it with attention. If they are delaying it, they can start doing it in time. This is the change that we need to start working on. Allah subhanahu also, the change could be on a different front. For those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have, tested them with committing sins, drinking alcohol, doing objectionable act, engaging in illegal relationship. This is the time to change. Ramadan is the time to change, where you think about your life and say, how could I continue in this path knowing that I will meet my Lord and He will make account for me on those actions? Ramadan is a time when we can change our relationship with the Quran. If we have abandoned it, not read it, not spent the time to understand it, Ramadan is our opportunity to initiate a change in our relationship with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the guide of our life. That should supposed to be the light that should light the way for us. And we don't even read it. Sometimes throughout the year. And for many, even in Ramadan, we don't touch it. How could we change our relationship in the Quran if we don't start in Ramadan? Ramadan is a month of change, my dear brothers and sisters, because it is a month of change for our youth who are going through very difficult times in the environment around them. And Ramadan for them is a place where they can surround themselves with friends who are also exercising the act of fast, who now they have a group of them within themselves that they can help each other to do good and stay away from bad. Stay away from the conduct that happen every day on college campuses, in their schools, and so on, and protect themselves from the impact of all of this. Ramadan is a time, and this is very important, when we change our relationship or the way we think about food. Ramadan is not the time to indulge in food. Ramadan is the time where we actually hold off. Not just during the fast, but during breaking the fast. Because the intent of Ramadan is to make us control our desires. What is the use of staying away from food if we're going to spend the time after we break our fast indulging on all kind of feasts to the point that we are so full that we can't stand up in salah? So, my dear brothers and sisters, back to the first point, Ramadan is a month of change on multitude of levels. And we need to look at it from that lens. And we need to conduct ourselves within that lens. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters, the guide for us in Ramadan is the advice of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, ليس الصيام من الأكل والشرب إنما الصيام من اللغو والرفث فإن سابك أحد أو جهل عليك فقل إني صائم إني صائم. Very brief, very to the point command from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He said, Siyam, fast, is not to stay away from food and water only. It's not just to stay away from food and water only. Siyam is to stay away from loose talk, from negative conduct, from, bad language. So if someone happened to curse you, to fight with you, to kind of push you around, say, Anni Saim. Don't reciprocate. Don't treat them in their own way. Treat them as you are supposed to behave as someone who is following the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the advice of the Prophet ﷺ, that if we stick to it, we start to have what the ulama used to say, صوم الخصوص. They said the siyam, three kinds. صوم العوام وصوم الخصوص وصوم خصوص الخصوص. صوم العوام is the common people, staying away from food and water, an intimate relationship, not appreciating and understanding the intent of siyam. صوم الخصوص is those who, the chosen one. And their fast is when they control their eyesight, they control their tongues, they control their ears, they control their hands, they control their limbs, and they would not use any of this in what would be a disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the Sawm al-Khusus, those who are the chosen of the chosen, is those who will stay away from anything related to dunya. Everything in that time in Ramadan becomes associated with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among them. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us in this Ramadan those who will use it as an opportunity for change. And they'll change their life to the better. And they'll strive to be better Muslims and better human beings. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who will come out of this Ramadan changed people, better people. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us in this Ramadan among those who will be set free from the hellfire by the end of the month. Us and our parents and our teachers and our grandparents and all of those who have favors upon us. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us during Ramadan and to accept our siyam and qiyam and ruku' and sujood and Quran and all good deeds that we are performing in this month of Ramadan. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed month to give shifa and to cure all of those who are sick, and to be with all who are in need of His help, and to help those who are oppressed and to lift their oppression, and to protect them from their oppressors. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us in this Ramadan His love and the love of everything that He loves, and to grant us the ability to enter into the paradise and stay away from the hellfire. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our community and to give us the best in this dunya and in the hereafter. My dear brothers and sisters, as this is the month of giving, this is the month of charity, as it is one of the essential things in this month, please remember your mosque and your donation as you exit the masjid. As you exit, put something in the charity for this masjid, on behalf of your parents, on behalf of your children, as a protection for your family, as a sign of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a mean to be like the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and be generous in the month of Ramadan. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept on all us, عباد الله, إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
استقيموا استووا. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Just quick reminders here about the youth program. We have the Fajr Challenge and Khatira Challenge going on during Ramadan for the youth. So this is to encourage the youth to come to the masjid and pray Isha, Taraweeh, and listen to the Khatira, and also attend Fajr prayers and do some activities to, inshallah, improve their connection with Islam, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah's deen. And then we have more details of the youth programs within the newsletter links that you receive every Thursday. So if you have access to that, you'll get more information about the different programs that are going on at ICGC during Ramadan. And as a reminder also, tonight and tomorrow night, every Friday and Saturday throughout Ramadan, we'll provide shuttle service between Meyer and here. As you know, we have some challenges with the in and out and parking on the spot on campus. So we've provided those shuttle buses that will be running back and forth from 8:30 to midnight between here and Meyer. If you are able to park in Meyer instead of parking here and leave the parking spots here for the elderly and those who are physically challenged, it will be much appreciated. Please, if you can, that would be great. And then we have, inshallah, we also do have the community potluck iftars every Monday and Thursday during Ramadan. For those who would like to attend, it will be in the gym, inshallah, Mondays and Thursdays. Join the ladies Halaqa Ramadan Halaqa series that are happening on Zoom for the ladies. Please find details of this program in the newsletter. And then we have also, inshallah, more programs that you can find on the newsletter. If you are not subscribed to the newsletter, please do so you can get weekly updates from ICGC. As always, please remember to donate to ICGC on your way out. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.